History is recorded in many strange places outside of books. The growth rings on trees record the seasonal fluctuations over the centuries. Pottery chronologies establish the dates of civilization's progress upward. Paleontologists discover revelations in fossils and bones. Archaeologists dig up ruined cities of long ago and find evidence that boys in the ancient city of Ur were doing much the same in schoolwork as boys of today. On clay tablets, they worked their multiplication tables and progressed to the square and cube root. If we had no books, there would still be many places to read about mankind's history. But the best place to read man's beating religious heart, strange as it may seem, is on Tombstones. There, in spite of its lip service to idols and its worldly sophistication, each nation has written its real faith. The Romans were proud people in their conquests. To the world they gave law and order where before chaos had reigned supreme. Much of what they had in their civilization they borrowed from the Greeks. Their idols and mythology served for a social religion. Their religion became so entwined with the state that even their Caesars became gods to them. On the surface, their religion was sufficient to them, but a trip to their cemeteries will prove otherwise. A casual reading of their tombstones found there will dispel the myth of their religion's adequacy. Edersheim records these actual inscriptions on their headstones. Two brief ones are, "To eternal sleep," and another, "To perpetual rest." One longer inscription breathes more fully the pagan and hopeless spirit of a bankrupt religion. It said, "I was not, and I became, I was, and I am no more. This much is true, and those who say otherwise lie, for I am no more. Those who live, drink, and play." It's a small wonder that such a nation should inevitably decay in time. When a nation's hope is gone, then its reason for existence withers away. But we step aside to the Christian catacombs outside of Rome, where many Christians were buried, and suddenly we're in a different world altogether. The inscriptions breathe a new spirit. No dreariness is evident here. No hopelessness clouds the scene. Instead, the words here recorded are full of good cheer and faith. Some typical inscriptions are, "Thou wilt live forever." "Julia, in peace with the saints." "To Paul, my son, in peace. May the spirit of all saints receive you." And today, some 2,000 years after the advent of Christ, one reads in a small West Texas cemetery inscriptions which reflect the same blessed hope. They simply say, "We'll meet again. Earth has no sorrow that heaven cannot heal." And in harmony with some unknown mother's expression carved in the Christian catacombs, there is one similar to this in a more modern cemetery by another mother who had lost a son. She had inscribed over her son's grave, "From mother's arms to the arms of Jesus." Why the difference between the two groups of people who live so close together, the Romans and the Christians? Why does one lift a voice of despair while the other chants a prayer of hope? The only answer is that one had Christ and the other did not. Christ promised his followers a resurrection because their God was a God of the living and not a God of the dead. Over his own borrowed tomb, Jesus left written in angelic words, "Why do you seek the living among the dead? He is not here, but risen." This great event had its impact upon the world, whether believing or unbelieving. It taught Christians not to sorrow even as those who have no hope. The only answer which will explain the dramatic change in tombstone inscriptions is that Christ graced this earth with his presence, and the people who sat in darkness saw a great light. This change is written in books and in lives. But were these all taken from the earth in a moment, we could still find the resurrection faith by reading those Christian tombstones.